We understand in New Thought that life is a moment-by-moment experience. And we can witness it, and we can take a pause, and we can slow down, and we can experience this rebirth of newness and aliveness in every new moment. We learn to leave the old ideas behind us, and we're open and receptive to new ideas as they emerge and as we discover them. We don't try to hang on to things that don't work, hopefully. We develop the willingness to trade in that which doesn't support us anymore. We know that life is moving forward, and we have the willingness to take a look, let go, and let God or let the universe inform us, which it always will if we let it, so we can move forward. A lot of people really don't like change, right? And they don't like letting go of things that are routine. They don't like letting go of what they love, people they love. They don't like letting go. They want everything to be the same. But that's not realistic in life. You cannot stand in the same river twice. Every day is going to be different. And you might try to keep things the same, but it's not really possible. Sometimes we grieve when things change and doors are closed. There's always going to be doors closing in life, and there's always going to be doors opening in life. Life is about change, and as we embrace the teaching more and more, we celebrate change. And we know that there's an evolution going on always within us. This rising spirit rises everywhere. It's in us, it operates through us, and it operates through all people everywhere. And we're teaching and we're taught here, and we embrace the idea that it's evolving in beauty and in love and in goodness and divine harmony. And oftentimes in the world it doesn't look like that, but that's really how it works. If we look at our own life, and we can look back a few years, a few months sometimes, but certainly over a period of a few years, you can look back and you can see, oh my goodness, these situations that seem so awful that were there were always there as a lesson for us to bring us to a greater place of understanding. Like attracts like. Wherever your consciousness is along the spectrum of life, it's important to know that it's always moving upwards, it's always evolving. Wherever you are in the evolutionary process, and you might think, geez, God, I've done some terrible things, and I've just gotten out of this divorce, or I'm in the middle of this thing, and I've done this person wrong, or I've lied, or I've cheated, or whatever it is. Wherever you happen to be in this spectrum of life, it's important to know that you are a spiritual being and you're evolving. And you gotta find a way to cut yourself a little bit of slack. You can acknowledge where you're missing the mark. We acknowledge where we're off track, and we resolve to get back on track because we know we're evolving. And the thing is we start to love ourselves enough to say, okay, I've made mistakes, and I intend in this new moment to see differently and do differently. We have to have that compassion for ourselves first, and then we're going to be able to extend it to other people. The thing about this law of life, this law of attraction, is what you personally know and believe is being reflected in all areas of your life. What you personally know and believe is being reflected in your relationships. It's being reflected in your health. It's being reflected in your sense of prosperity. Everything that you know and think, this is your consciousness, right? In the world is being mirrored in your world. So if you just think, here's my world, and just think of it. Do you like what is there? And if so, that's great. That means you're doing a lot of things, you've developed a positive outlook and you're starting to practice some of these principles. Conversely, if you're looking at your life and you're thinking, what a mess, we realize that we can turn it all around, and it won't take us that long either. We just need to stay tuned in, keep being reminded, and just have the willingness to trade in the lesser idea for the greater. So as we dealing with our day-to-day life, are we accepting life on life's terms? You might ask yourself tonight, do you have an argument that seems to be ongoing with someone, or a grudge? Maybe you don't, maybe you do, or where things have not happened to your liking. In those moments, we have the ability to be forgiving, or we have the ability to stay stuck. So one of my teachers, one of my books always said each and every instant is for giving. So if you want to heal your life, just try to keep some of these ideas in mind. Every encounter is a holy encounter. Each and every instant, if you're in connection, is for giving. You have the ability to extend love very easily if you can get yourself out of the way, if you can learn to be the lifter. People are in denial, which means they don't think they have a problem, or maybe they haven't really examined the behavior. And so we encounter here the need to be willing. Once we discover that there's something going on, we have to have the willingness to deal with it, or else we will continue to bring forth lessons. Spirit is amazing in that sense. It keeps bringing forth lessons until you're willing to change, or look at what's right there in front of you. Things come around and around and around, and eventually, hopefully, as they unfold, we're willing to consider what life is offering us. And nothing is happening to us. Rather, the things that we bring into our life are all happening for us to bring us to a higher place. So the question, again, for today is, how well do you handle things? How well do you bounce when things aren't working out? How well do you handle the tough days? Because we all have days, right? Where things can be disappointing, where there are ups and downs. Are you somebody who experiences a lot of sadness or maybe grief in your day-to-day living? I know there's people out there who are going through grief right now. And it's normal to experience a wide array of emotions, but it's not so normal to experience some of these emotions that I'm describing as an ongoing way of life. Do you experience a lot of sadness? Have you been? And have you been doing so for a while? Or grief in your day-to-day experience? Do you find yourself being more disappointed than glad and accepting and joyous and free? What is it like being you, usually, day by day? Because we want to have some reflection about some of these subjects. We learn the value of positive self-talk. There's power for good in the universe, and you can use it, and you are using it. Thing is, a lot of people just out there reacting and living their lives. They react to everything, and they start their day out well, and then something happens, and then there's an argument, and the whole day is like that. And as you come into a place like this, into a teaching like this, we're wanting you to learn that you have power available to you to use, where you have dominion in many aspects of your life. You can create peace and prosperity and health and healing. You have that power, but you have to somehow learn to harness that power.